Whenever you're ready.
Quoth the raven nevermore. How often have you heard these words but never thought about the man who wrote them? Edgar Allan Poe has inspired many great authors and artists. So I'm Adriana Ahart, and I'm here to talk to you about how Edgar Allan Poe has inspired American pop culture through cinema, graphic novels, and music. So, first we're going to talk about how Edgar Allan Poe has affected cinema. According to Derek Parker Royal in Sequential Poetry, there are over 150 entries in the Internet Movie Database about Edgar Allan Poe. In Scott Peebles' That Name Will Never Be Worth Anything, Poe's Image on Film, he talks about many different Poe films, adaptations. My favorite is The Raven. It's a 2012 film where they take a murderer who takes his works and they turn them into murders, and it's really cool to see his murders being adapted into, his works being adapted into murders. And then, back in a book review of Adapting Poe, Reimaginings in Popular Cultures by Dennis R. Perry, Carl H. Cheatham, Lawrence Raw talks about how the structure of Inception, it was also influenced by Poe, and how one of my favorite adult cartoons was also influenced by Poe. You've probably seen that episode of The Simpsons. I know high school teachers like to use it a lot as reference. That's from The Raven. So next we go from screen to page as we talk to about Edgar Allan Poe's influence on the graphic novels. So this is a picture of Classics Illustrated, and if you don't know what Classics Illustrated is, it's books turned into comics. They're a little bit before your time. They came along in my parents' time. I have a few at home. I absolutely love them. They're adorable. And this was found in Sequential Poetry as well. It talks about Poe's influence on some more modern comics, like a Batman series. I mean, come on, who doesn't like Batman? And Batman Nevermore. And then my favorite, Roman Dirge's Lenore. Roman Dirge, if you don't know who Roman Dirge is, Roman Dirge, he wrote Invader Zim, and in his books, Lenore Nookies, he quotes Lenore on the very first page before he writes in the comics. So now we can finally talk about Edgar Allan Poe's inspirations in music. This is Bob Dylan. How many of you guys know Bob Dylan?
Yeah.
So, Bob Dylan, he has a whole album dedicated to Edgar Allan Poe. And we find this out in Telltale Signs, Edgar Allan Poe and Bob Dylan Towards a Model of Intersexuality by Christopher Ralston. And then, here's one of my favorites, The Beatles. Kristen Mulligan, she talks about how he's in their Sgt. Pepper cover right there, and he's in the song I Am the Walrus. I'm going to play that for you guys. And then finally, back into the Scott Peebles to talk about how people have been so influenced by both him and Queen, they've created a meme. So They've taken I'm Just a Poor Boy, Nobody Loves Me from Bohemian Rhapsody and turned it into I'm Just a Po' Boy, Nobody Loves Me with Poe and his Raven. So, as you can see, Poe has influenced more than just the literary world through cinema, graphic novels, and music. So next time you pick up a book or listen to a piece of music, think of who inspired it. These are my references. Thank you for listening to me.